Here's your host, Alex Garrett.
It's January 20th, which means this. It means a year from today, someone will put their hand on the Bible and take the oath of office for the President of the United States. Yes, we are into campaign 2024. We are into election season. Iowa was just last week. Obviously, Trump romped the crowd and led to a couple of exits from the campaign, from their own campaigns, like Vivek and Asa Hutchinson. I mean, that's really breaking news. Anyway, on the 20th of each month, I'd like to give you a breakdown of where, what, when, where, why, and who is winning where in this cycle, and the polling, especially the polling, as we get toward November. November 5th, 2024. But till then, we've got a lot to go. We've got a few trials that Trump has to overcome. We have an economy that needs to be turned around. We have a lot of work to do. We got to see how Congress acts during this 2024. We even have to see how the Fed acts during this election cycle. And mainly, we have to see if Joe Biden is still the president by midsummer 2024, and if something, if he falls ill or the party somehow does a switcheroo and has a Michelle Obama or has Gavin Newsom in position to run for president in 2024. If you had a gun to my head right now, I don't think Joe Biden will be anywhere near the ballot on November 5th, 2024. But I could be wrong. We'll have to see. But until then, until all that shakes out, we're going to just get you some polling. We're going to get some numbers each month leading up to January 20, 2025, when, as I mentioned before, just a little bit before that, that's when the next president or the current president will put his hand on the Bible or her hand on the Bible and swear to the oath of office at the United States Capitol. Yeah, we're heading toward Inauguration Day 2025. It'll be here before we know it. But let me get you a couple of polls right now and tell me what you think to lead off this campaign 2024 series on One Leg Up with Alex Garrett. Let's quickly turn to 270towin.com, which is saying that as of right now, nationally, Trump has a 1% lead over Biden. 1%, 45 to 44% nationally. That was just taken yesterday, as a matter of fact. And what they do is they take the average of the 5 polls, including YouGov, Redfield and Wilton, Morning Consult, CBS YouGov, and basically they're averaging that Trump, yes, has a bigger lead than Biden in a number of these polls. And of course, on this series, maybe we have, they even include McLaughlin. I like that. They even include McLaughlin. How about that? That says right now, as of December 2023, Trump had a couple of percentage point lead over Biden. So all signs are that no matter the legal issues or the indictments or the trouble, President Trump is ahead here, which is going to be a factor. We're going to see how the DOJ, how the Biden administration handles it, and clearly we're seeing that states want him off the ballot, including mainly Colorado and Maine. Those are the 2 big ones so far. New York delegates are trying to get him off the primary ballot as well. But I'm going to link to 270towin.com, and you can find out more about what they're doing in the run-up to January 20th, 2025, and in the run-up to November 5th, 2024. Look, do I like talking politics anymore? No. But the honest-to-God truth is there is an election in play this year. We all know it, 2024. But do you know the polling? Do you know what's going on with that? No? Well, I'm going to bring it to you and each and every month on the 20th day of each month. Because I do think once again our future is at stake. I know it sounds cliche, but I believe that whoever takes president next has to clean up this mess. And the biggest mess they have to clean up, obviously, is the border crisis. That's the first big task they have to handle. And a lot of people, I believe, think Trump can do it better. I mean, look, the Biden administration tried to erase the border wall. Turns out they had to go and build back some of that wall. Didn't really help the migrant crisis much, but the point is yes, the Biden administration had to keep some of those policies in place that the Trump administration left in. And then another factor, did you see what's going on? And I hate to say it to kick off this campaign trail, but this could be campaign series and this election series on one leg up. But this is unbelievable. Did you see in China this week? That they are testing another COVID-19 strain? Chinese researcher submitted a COVID virus sequence 2 weeks before China made the data public. It's happening again. Are we aware that the Chinese government is again holding back on COVID virus information? Is it possible that another Wuhanian leak can happen to disrupt this election cycle again? I know it's only January 20th, but guess what? I have a bit of trauma from March 2020 and the whole shutdown. Don't you? Wouldn't you want to know if China was working on something like this again? And why are they? The United States National Institute of Health said in response to a House and Energy Committee investigation that Chinese virologist Lily Ren submitted the sequence on December. This is back in 2019. This was the first strain. And they held back that information back then. But but they were doing testing recently. Cloning, this is the one I want to tell you. Cloning COVID-like virus to test on mice and acknowledged a spillover rate risk to humans. In a report by research under a collaborative project between China and Mongolia, scientists explained the virus is a strain of coronavirus, and they cloned the virus and they tested on mice. This underscores a spillover risk of GXP2V into humans and provide a unique model for understanding the pathogenic mechanism. But the point is, China is again testing, again like 4 years ago, testing this. And I think we should all be a little nervous. We should be a little worried that they're coming up with these measles and these different health outbreaks that could affect some governmental decisions on what to shut down, what to keep open. I mean, the shutdown rhetoric is in play here again, sadly, in this election year. Doesn't it feel like that? Doesn't it feel like that to you? That's why a year from now is so pivotal that I do believe the Democrats are going to pull out all stops. And the Republicans are just going to go along with it, saying, oh, well, we can't really rock the boat. And I admire the work of Speaker Johnson here, but he's got to remember it's an election year too. You've got to make them tie border security funding to the aid to Ukraine and Israel. You've got to. You've got to be tough. Even if you don't feel like you can't push them, you got to. It'll look better for the party as we are into 2024. But at the end of the day, I do think the Georgia case is going to make a big difference in this election. I also happen to think that Trump will too. Trump will make himself either look better or worse in this year. And if he just stuck to facts and talked about how the Biden administration is failing at every corner. I mean, yes, we're still here today, but the fact is our city cannot handle the thousands of migrants that have come in. The city cannot handle a Biden versus Adams war right now. That's not what the city needs. The city needs a federal support. And you know what? If I'm Trump, I say, or if I'm any candidate, I say, hey, guess what, New York? I see what you're going through. You're the epicenter right now of this migrant crisis. And guess what? Guess what? We're going to be by your side. We will not turn our back on Eric Adams. We will not investigate your mayor when we are scrutinized, if we are scrutinized by him. We will continue to work with him. That's the message that these candidates need to send to New York City, that we are going to work with Mayor Adams. The message we get from the White House right now is, oh, he's going to criticize us? Let's go after him with the FBI. Let's seize some phones here and let's get some investigations going that were never done before. And whether you like Adams or not, you have to believe that there's a bit of a hunt going on because he is calling out the White House directly. Biden didn't even meet with Adams in September during the UN General Assembly week. That didn't happen. And nor has any real help from the federal government happened as well. So we could deal with what his relationship is with Kathy Hochul and the state's help or non-help. But if we're talking about 2024, we've got to say, what candidate can message properly to the city of New York, hey, I will work with you to get this migrant crisis under control and not turn our back on New York City. We will not tell New York City to drop dead. That's the message that needs to be conveyed in the local sense by this presidential election. And we'll see if it gets done. We'll see if it gets done. But again, 270towin.com. I'm going to drop that. You could check the polls out. And then every month we'll come back with a little review. Maybe get some polling experts on this show. The One Leg Up with Alex Garrett Podcast Network. And do more as we head 2020. As I say, this generation needs to know before they go to the polls what the deal is, where the voting is, what's the policy shaping up to be from these candidates. And if I'm Biden running, I can't promise to be the same old. It's got to be fixed. There's got to be a lot of fixing that has to happen that I don't think the Biden administration will do because they're worried about the far left contingent voting against him. They're so worried about votes that, yes, did you know that there was a provision in this city to allow migrants to vote that was rejected? That's how extreme the left is getting. And in 2025, I personally cannot want a Democrat to put his hand or her hand on that Bible unless they are common sense, which Biden clearly has not been during this whole crisis, during this whole inflation situation we've been going through, during this whole thing where gas prices have gone up. I mean, a lot of things have gone up. Grocery prices alone have gone up in this administration. So I believe to keep America on the right track and put it back on the right track, I should say, 2024 is crucial. That's why on this day in 2025, hopefully the right person puts their hand on that Bible. At high noon. Going to be an interesting year. We'll be covering for you every 20th of the month, right up until the run-up of January 20th, 2025. And, of course, Election Day, November 5th, 2024. We'll be covering it, getting posters and everything like that, and seeing what we can do to inform you the best we can on this network. It's election season, baby. Let's get ready. Talk to you soon.